Hello and a warm welcome to Federal special program Capital Beat. Modi government last evening notified the rules for the Citizenship Amendment Act, which was passed in 2019 amid huge protests across the country. Now, this act expedites the citizenship process for the non-Muslim migrants, which includes the Hindus, the Sikhs, Jains, Buddhists, Parsis, and Christians who migrated from only three countries, that is Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. Now, this act has already faced numerous delays and it still continues to be criticized. And the big question now is that why have the rules been notified just on the eve of the election? Since the time yesterday, last evening, when the rules were notified, there are 2, 3 developments which have happened, and I think it's very important to discuss that. First of all, the Indian Union Muslim League, that is IUML, has filed a plea before the Supreme Court to put a stay on the CAA rules. That's development number one. And number two, that the security has been tightened in Delhi, and the police apparently has conducted a flag march, fearing that there could be some protests. So the big question we are asking on the show is that what is the intention of the government behind notifying these rules just on the eve of elections? And also the fact that this notification of the rules came in on a day when the government was almost on the back foot with the Supreme Court order on the electoral bonds. So was this some kind of a headline management exercise as well? Joining me now is Javed Ansari, senior journalist and editor. Thank you so much for joining. Sharad Gupta, senior journalist and editor, joins us. Thank you so much. TK Rajlakshmi joins us, who's the deputy editor of the Frontline. Thank you, Rajlakshmi. Mr. Ansari, what is the real intention behind bringing in the notification of these rules?
Huge political undertones, the very fact that it is done on the eve of the elections. I think later in the week, elections will be declared or early next week. So they want a topic, they want something that will polarize people, and also headline management. Yesterday, they got a huge rap on the knuckles on the SBI, and the government got a huge rap on the knuckles on the electoral bond issues. And had they not made this announcement, that news ought to have dominated newspaper headlines as also TV headlines. But today you see it's not. It's the CAA. So they managed to deflect attention. For how long and for how much we don't know, but yes, we have. And I think the biggest mistake opponents of CAA will make is if they walk into this trap of going in for street demonstrations of giving provocative statements. It's one thing to oppose it in the courts and let the courts decide.
Right. All right. If I may come to Pushparaj now, Pushparaj, what do you think is the biggest risk at this point of time? Now that the rules have been notified, IUML though has gone to the court also to, they've asked for a stay on this new CAA rules. Delhi police is conducting a flag march, preempting some sort of a protest. What is the real danger at this point of time? Because this act has already faced numerous delays in the past.
Hi, Niluji. See, now my point is that keeping the obvious that everyone has been speaking about, that, it has taken 9 extensions over 5 years to notify the rules. And now it's coming on the eve of the next Lok Sabha election, suggests that there is more to it, Ms. Denai. But if you read the act, if you read the rules carefully, there are multiple problems that are going to severely compromise India's national security as well as geopolitical situation. Forget about the fact that it reimagines our citizenship laws or in fact even the constitutional idea of India. Now this has severe implications. Think about it, and no one else is really focusing about this in a long-term perspective. If you read the rules, the rules assume that anyone applying for citizenship is doing so because he or she is persecuted. There is no burden of proof on them to show that I have been persecuted, which is why I'm coming here. Now, in its ideological lens, it is in its blinkered view, it is severely compromising our national security. Why? Because anyone engaged in statecraft will know that the first thing any nation does, including India, I don't want to talk about these details because these are things that you don't discard. But just imagine Pakistan or China or any enemy nation, the first thing they would do is recruit someone who's non-Muslim and get them to apply for citizenship in India. And Modi, Amit Shah will welcome them welcome these potential spies with open arms because, hey, boss, Hindu khatre mein hai, and our ideology suggests that we are supposed to be all bhai kind of thing. The second thing is the BJP's bucks are cheering on the CAA. Let's keep aside everything. It is not a refugee thing. It's not about persecution. They are cheering on the CAA because they see it as an anti-Muslim law, right? Everyone agrees to this. They don't understand that in the northeast, like in Assam, many Assamese want all Bangladeshis and all Bengalis out of Assam, both Hindu and Muslim, which is why the people there are for the NRC but not the CAA. Remember, 19 lakh Hindus got struck off the NRC list in Assam. So I was saying, now Manipur is already in a state of civil war for over a year. That's a border state. Now, potentially, Assam also could go up in flames. And I mean, anyone who's a Deshbhakt, anyone who's a patriot would seriously worry about how the BJP is compromising our national interest just in its lust for a few more seats. Then, of course, there is the question of citizenship itself, which a lot of people are not really focusing on. Earlier, our citizenship was linked to the soil, just solely. Our founders laid down that anyone who's born in India is Indian, just like in the US or in Canada or in UK. I mean, all of us know that people are desperate for their babies to be born in Canada or the US so that they get that green card. Now, for all their love of Bharat Mata, the BJP is now making citizenship on blood, descent, which is why it's become just sanguineous. That your parents and your grandparents have to be from a certain religion, and the burden of proof is on you. Now, this is a tautology because over the last 800 years, which is what they keep saying, 800 साल में, हम लोग Hindu खतरे में है, India पे attack हुआ है. Each of us has had over 8,000 ancestors. Can anyone be sure that there hasn't been intermingling? Can even Amit Shah and Modi themselves be sure that they don't have any other intermingled blood? I mean, yes. Such kind of demands are unbecoming of a democratic nation hoping to be a cosmopolitan nation and hence Vishwaguru. And finally, fourthly, the BJP's official claims that the CAA is to save persecuted minorities. Both Ahmadiyyas and Rohingyas, who are also persecuted in their respective nations, are not given special treatment. They have also not allowed any special treatment for minorities from Sri Lanka or China. Agar aapko itna hi, I mean, if you're so concerned about persecuted minorities, let these nations also be this thing, save them. Last year alone, 800 Hindus went back to Pakistan because the Modi government did not give them citizenship. Where was their concern for Hindus then? And finally, geopolitically, just think about this. Apart from Pakistan, leave aside Pakistan, the CAA law and rules effectively vilify Bangladesh and Afghanistan as badly run states, which is why, and that they persecute the minorities, they allow for it. Both these countries, Bangladesh and Afghanistan, are critical to us geopolitically for our national security, for our trade and energy security. By vilifying those nations, the Modi government is also vilifying the governments. At a time when China is aggressively wooing them, when the neighborhood is completely moving away from, Nepal has moved away from us, Sri Lanka has moved away from us, Maldives, Seychelles, everyone. And that at that time, you want to also vilify and caricature these nations as persecuting their minorities. I mean, what kind of nonsense is this? Any patriot who loves India must seriously ask himself this. India's national security, our internal security, our global standing, and the citizenship, the constitutional idea of India enshrined in our constitution, it is being compromised just so that BJP can win a few more seats. Are you really okay with that?
Right. So that's an important question which Pushpraj has raised, and I'll try and connect with Mr. Mehmood Pracha. He's joining us from the Delhi High Court. Mr. Pracha, what I wanted to ask you was that why should we not look at the government with suspicion because of the fact that they brought in the rules just on the eve of the elections? Anytime now, the dates for the elections are going to be announced. They have been sitting all these years, almost like 4 years or some few months. They've been sitting on the act, but now just before the elections, they have tried to notify rules. Yes, Mr. Pracha.
Simply because we have brains, we are not fools. That is why we should look every move of Narendra Modi ji, Amit Shah ji, and Mohan Bhagwat ji with suspicion. Not with suspicion, but with certainty that they are going to divide our country one way or the other. And for that, they need EVM. Let us not divert from the issue. Let us not fall into the trap of falling into their narrative. It is as simple as this, and I'm saying this with full sense of responsibility as a lawyer who has in-depth knowledge of Citizenship Act laws. In-depth means in-depth. So nobody will get any benefit out of the CAA. Nobody in the country. Anybody who applies and this is for the people who are in West Bengal who belong to scheduled caste community. If they apply, they are doomed. Do not apply in this. Do not fall into this trap. This ploy is just to divert the attention from electoral bonds. This ploy is to divert the attention from the demand of removal of EVM. Modi ji, Amit Shah ji, Mohan Bhagwat ji clearly know. Once there is no EVM, once there is election by paper ballot, no amount of fraud, no amount of cheating will work, no amount of diversion on communal, religious lines, any line. Patriotism, everything of theirs has fallen flat on its face. They stand totally exposed. Nobody is going to vote for them except people in RSS and BJP who have financial interest attached to them. Nobody else is going to vote for them. They know this. So therefore, let us not divert ourselves. I am saying this full sense of responsibility. Anybody who applies under this act is doomed. They will never get a citizenship. Rather, they will be trapped into accepting that they are illegal immigrants. So I am requesting my brothers and sisters in West Bengal not to apply under this act. There is already a law which was amended in 2004, the Citizenship Act. Two words were added. Not for illegal immigrants. Anybody can apply, anybody in the world can apply for Indian citizenship, and he can get by making a good case. That is the law. But two words were added that this does not apply to illegal immigrants. So first of all, anybody who is applying under CAA Act will have to accept, and this is a message I am giving to people of West Bengal. And Muslims are the last people, understand this. And that's why government wants to make it a Muslim versus non-Muslims issue. Everybody, including you, me, and all your panel people, including, and as it happened in Assam, even the relatives of the President of India, their name was removed. So anybody, only 1% people who are very careful with their documents, who have no spelling mistakes in their documents, will be saved. Otherwise, they can snatch away the voting rights, the property rights, the
So
right
Mr.
to
Pracha,
live
are you
freely.
saying,
Anybody.
Mr. Pracha, that's an important point you're making.
That is NRC for us.
No. What I'm asking you is the government trying to use this notification of rules of CAA as a tool to target the opponents, target not only the Muslims, but the other sections of the society as well?
More than Muslims, because Muslims have been attacked repeatedly on this aspect. So they have prepared their paper well. Everybody else is calm and cool. They, as happened in Assam, more than 75% of the people who did not find their name in NRC are non-Muslims. So because there is no fault of theirs also. Nobody is going to match their spellings with father's spellings, address, everything. So that's what is happening to other people. But Muslims are doing that by a conscious effort because they feel threatened. So Muslims are the safest under CAA and NRC scheme. But other peoples will fall. But the real reason, again, I'll say, is to somehow create justification of the votes they are going to get through EVM. Nobody is going to communalize the issue on the saying of RSS and BJP. Come what may, everybody knows they are scamsters, they are frauds. And in the words of Mr. Ram Jethmalani, I'm borrowing his words, Amit Shah ji and Modi ji are cheaters. So they have not denied this, that Jethmalani Sahab was telling a lie. Amit Shah ji and Modi ji have not denied. So that is on record. So that is why I'm saying nobody believes them. Everybody believes Ram Jethmalani ji. So now every ploy has fallen. So they are creating reasons for justifying the votes they will procure through EVM. That we got these votes because we communalized the issue. We did this and that. That is the only reason. So let us focus on opposing. There will be protests. There are going to be protests outside Supreme Court, outside Election Commission, outside ED, CBI. But that will be for electoral bonds as well as for removal of EVM.
So you are
focused.
that
People
there
of
should
India
be
are
no,
focused.
Mr. Pracha, as was Mr. Ansari also said, you are saying that there should not be any protest related to CAA currently, right?
Every protest which is connected to unemployment, safety of the country, bringing our land, 4,000 kilometer land from China, unemployment, national security, the corruption of Adani Ambani should also include EVM as the first topic. Second topic, anything can be the second topic. First topic is EVM, hatao, desh bachao, ban EVM, save the nation. And then everybody can join in with their own personal issues if anybody feels anything. That's save constitution. Today, constitution is also under threat. Save constitution, remove, ban EVM, and then save the nation. That's it. Every other issue is secondary.
I'll come to Sharad Gupta now. Now, Sharad, how is it really going to politically pan out, especially in a state like Assam, where you already have an Assam Accord, people have been resisting. So are we not going to see protests there? And then ultimately, if the protests snowball, then BJP has already achieved its purpose.
Yeah, in only two states which are going to be mainly affected by the CAA are West Bengal and Assam. So these are mainly the two states because there's sizable population of and there's already unrest against CAA in these states. But actually, when initially in 2019 and 20, when it was brought, and the countrywide protests, they were not only against CAA but also against NRC. But Modi government has very cleverly disassociated the two. So this time they are not implementing the NRC along with CAA. So that's why they are saying we are just granting citizenship to some people, but not disenfranchising anybody. So why should there be any cause of concern to anyone? So that is their line of argument. But you're right, the whole purpose is to communalize that and polarize the atmosphere just before the elections. And the sagacity for the opposition and people is going to be in lying low at least till the elections, and then they can take up the issues. Because otherwise, BJP's purpose will be achieved, as you just pointed out. If polarization exacerbates, so in that case, BJP's purpose will be achieved. So you can challenge it in the court of law. You can register your protests, have small level protests, issue media statements. But at this juncture, I don't think anybody should take to the streets, because then it will basically enhance the already polarized society. It will increase the schism between the communities, and that is what I think the people should do right now.
Right. I'll come to Rajalakshmi now. Now, government has been celebrating. I was watching the TV channels last evening where, places like 24 North Parganas, people were out bursting in celebrations that, as if it looked like a very big achievement of Modi government. Then I was reading West Bengal governor's statement where he has said that CAA is nothing but a logical progression of governance. This is what the West Bengal governor has to say. Now, Amit Shah time and again has said that nobody's citizenship will be taken away. This is just simply fear-mongering by the opposition parties. Now, how would one really explain in a polarized atmosphere like this, when all these things are being talked about, then the mainstream channels focusing totally on this, and as we have seen, the entire focus from the electoral bonds has been taken away, and everywhere, small developments are being, snowballed on the television channels. So what is the kind of impact it's going to have on the minds of the citizens or the minds of the voters?
See, Nilu, I think that the government, did this, as it comes, in the wake of the Supreme Court's judgment on the electoral bonds issue, and not giving the SBI the extension that it wanted. It's quite obvious the reasons as to why this announcement was made, and also it was yes, and the other reason was also, of course, to grab headlines, to become the news of the day in that sense. I think it was also to enthuse their own cadre, because I'm feeling that that things are not all that are not going as well as the BJP I think would have it, because obviously the Supreme Court's judgment is a huge setback, politically, it's a huge setback to it, and also from the point of view of optics, because I think everybody in the country, I mean, has been interested, as to what the SC is going to do about the electoral bonds issue, and this whole link between the corporate sector as well as funding of political parties, and that the ECI's own affidavits, etc., which have come up, show as to which party has been the largest beneficiary of this, right? So other than this, I mean, I don't think it's going to be all that easy for the BJP to polarize as it did, in 2019, because now there is some amount of awareness as to the same playbook that the BJP uses essentially, and the Sangh uses, I mean, in that sense. And again, Assam is again the epicenter of I mean of protests. They're saying you respect the Assam Accord. They're saying, on the grounds of, the indigenous demography stands to be affected if all the Hindu, immigrants are, legalized. So here is something that will backfire. Of course, the BJP argues that no, in the 2019 elections, there wasn't any impact, and we won almost 11 of the 14 Lok Sabha seats, etc. Right? So they seem to argue from that point of view, but I do not think that the impact is going to be the same, because there's going to be a degree of anti-incumbency against against the incumbent government there, and plus coupled with this. And in fact, it's not just Assam, it's also other parts of the Northeast,
Right.
For instance, Meghalaya and Tripura have also objected, extremely strongly. And then we have several state chief ministers who have said that they aren't going to implement the NPR as and when it comes, and they have said that the CAA Act is openly unconstitutional. I frankly do not know as to why was it struck down, by the courts, in fact, when it came up, because it's so blatantly biased. It's so blatantly discriminatory, openly discriminatory, because you can't grant citizenship, on the basis of religion, because that itself goes against your basic constitutional framework, and as well as principles. And after all this hoo-ha that happened, only 1,414 people, etc., were actually granted citizenship under the CA. So first of all, to make such a big hue and cry that there's so many people who are persecuted, and that and that we are going to do sort of justice with them, and then excluding one particular minority community from that entire ambit, etc. So it's not that people haven't realized, and I think that there'll be I think a much more calibrated form of opposition this time, because was fully aware, what happened in the aftermath of it. The Northeast Delhi riots. I mean, I wouldn't say riots, because it was just violence from one side essentially. It was not a clash between two communities as such, but it was orchestrated. Everybody knows by who it was. It was the and then the victims all, in fact, the majority of people who died were from the minority community. So I think there is this awareness that if such things happen, then it's not going to it's not going to come down well, because here then the state will use its entire sort of might to crush such protests. And even now, Nilu, they are using the farmers agitations to impose Section 144 all over the capital. I mean, in fact, there's no place where you can hold democratic protests, and democratic meetings. On March 8th, which is International Women's Day, every March 8th, we have women's organizations who take out, a rally from town hall. Okay, right? I'm historic. I mean, you have working class women, and then women from the middle classes, etc., who articulate those concerns.
You're right. You are right. In fact, to suppress all sorts of protests, the Guwahati police has warned against any sort of damage to the public
Yeah.
property. They've already come out with that circular. Javed, if I may come to you now, does this really go to show some kind of a desperation, or rather a big desperation on the part of the Modi government? Everything they've had under their sleeve seems to be failing. Whether it was the Ram Mandir, I don't know how much of an effect it has had, because of the fact that the opposition parties have been raking up issues continuously on employment, price rise, caste census. So it's basically BJP versus the muddas of, the issues which are being raked up by the opposition parties. So the very fact that they've been sitting over a law for the last 4.5 years, and now they thought that, they have nothing else left but to notify the rules. So does it go to show that Modi government is really in a desperate state at this point of time?
I'm not so sure if it's desperation. This is born out of a strategic purpose. They are pushing all the buttons. They want to present a bouquet of issues, whether it's Ram Mandir, whether it's this new nationalism, India emerging as a new power, the plethora of welfare schemes, and now this, because they've set themselves a target, they want to maximize it. They want to maximize the returns, and that's why they are opening up they're using every bullet in their arsenal to try and achieve that. It's not desperation. Let's not make this mistake, and also let's not be hasty in passing judgment that all the other issues have failed. I do not believe all the other issues have failed. Ram Mandir issue is a huge success. People will say, okay, yes, there's unemployment, there's price rise, the women are not safe. But at the end of the day, okay, but at least he delivered on that promise, on that one big promise. I had gone to the hospital the other day for a checkup, and I was sitting in a waiting room full of people. And they started talking about all this. A lot of them raised issues that are close to our heart. But at the end of the day, but देखो एक चीज तो कहनी होगी ना, he makes us feel proud. He's restored our pride in being Hindus. He's also delivered on that promise of bringing Ram Mandir. So let's not be hasty. We may want it to happen, but I'm not so sure if that's the reality on the ground.
All right. But Sharadji, what is Modi really achieving by notifying the rules of the CAA? What are a headline management, of course, is there to polarize the atmosphere before the elections. That is there. But what is he going to achieve when it doles out the narrative, when it brings out a narrative? Now, I was reading that Seema Haider, that Pakistani national who crossed over to India, she's feeling very happy.
Does she have a choice? Does she have a choice?
She doesn't have a choice. She doesn't have a choice, of course. So, no, but what I'm trying to ask, Sharaji, is that what is Modi achieving at the end of the day by notifying these rules in terms of a narrative? What are they going to tell the people?
That I am a Hindu leader. I'm here for the Hindus, and so far, all governments, previous governments, they had been pandering to Muslims. So I am the one who is pandering to the majority community. I am protecting your interests. You need not be threatened, within inverted commas, you need not to be threatened by Muslims anymore. That is the underlying message. So he is consolidating his vote bank, and in that way, he hopes to get a majority. That's what it is. As Javed Bhai is saying, all the issues together, means one after the other, they're all intended to just polarize the society and polarize the Hindu votes behind him. That is, see, all along for the last 4-5 years, he has sidelined Muslims from all government positions. There is no Muslim in parliament. There are no tickets being given to Muslims in assemblies also. So that way, complete messages that I am a Hindu leader, Hindu Hridaya Samrat, and all Hindus be proud of having a leader like Narendra Modi as a leader. That is the underlying.
Right. All right.
Very well put. Very well put, Sharad.
I'll come in for the concluding comments now to Pushpraj and Rajalakshmi. Pushpraj, to you first. So what would you really say? How is it really going to pan out politically? Because BJP will tom this as a big achievement. What will the opposition parties do? I'm wondering what is the kind of narrative which India Alliance is going to counter them on? Because I've been seeing the tweets put out by Jairam Ramesh, Akhilesh Yadav. All of them have said that, in a country where the main issue is the rosy roti, why to, benefit people from other countries? That is the kind of explanation which Akhilesh Yadav had been given. Jairam Ramesh had talked about the delay, that why they have been sitting all these years, and all of a sudden they bring in this, but no cogent explanation, and we cannot get a glimpse of how they will really potentially counter it.
See, I personally feel that any argument that says that yes, we welcome this, we welcome these act and rules, but we question the timing and the delay and all that stuff, is basically pandering to them. It's a cop out. So that kind of argument is just pandering to the ways to the BJP's base, and to expect any kind of swing towards your side on the basis of this is not going to happen. That's my personal opinion. Secondly, I think it's been 10 years since they've seen multiple things. They've done multiple things with the CAA and RC rules, with the farmers' protests, with multiple other such things that they have done. The cancellation of the Maulana Azad fellowship, scholarship, so on and so forth. Now, my point is that whoever had to get polarized in the last decade has already been polarized, and I firmly believe that it is not crossed 35%. Now, the point is that those people who are not going to be polarized and who have not been polarized so far are in fact going to get consolidated by their ham-handed effort to do this at the nth hour. And personally speaking, if the India parties could actually just sit down together and say that, this is a threat to the constitution. Anand Hegde has already said something to this effect a few days ago. This is a threat to not just the constitution, to abstract values, but to your and my way of life. If you are able to communicate that to the silent majority, and it is a majority, 60% of India, over 60% of India still does not vote for the BJP or believe in its ideology. My point is that if you're able to communicate that to them effectively in one voice, and I think the rally that they're supposed to do on the 17th in Bombay, where the final stretch of the Bharat Jodo Yatra is supposed to, the final rally, if they're able to communicate these messages firmly on principle, I think the silent majority will take note. That's my personal opinion. I don't think that they are going to be able to vitiate the atmosphere any more than they already have in the last decade. Our challenge for progressive forces is to collectivize and bring together everyone, so that there is man-to-man marking, that, no matter what, we will vote for one candidate that defeats the BJP. That can be achieved. It still can be done in the next 2 months.
Right. So, Rajlakshmi, so what kind of a resonance will this going to be having? Of course, Pushparaj said that the opposition India Alliance should be voicing all these things, that there is a threat to the general life and all of that. But how's it really going to pan out?
Well, Neelu, I'm also optimistic as as Pushparaj is, that the people of India will show the way. I mean, even if the opposition parties do not get that act completely together, but be fair to them. They have been, because ultimately, it is the fundamental issues of daily life that actually matter to people. Okay, I also heard people say that 100 रुपया LPG का दाम घटा दिया, लेकिन बाकी सब चीजों की महंगाई तो वैसे ही है. So the fact is that why did the government reduce the LPG price by 100 rupees? It's because there is some feedback coming from ground that people are criticizing the government also, right? So yes, what Javed and what Sharad say, yes, it makes sense, because I'm saying also makes sense because this entire package is what the BJP will present. Okay, Article 370 किया, CA ले आए, ये सब किया. हाँ, they'll say हाँ राम मंदिर बनवा दिया, right? So it's the standard trope. But then people also say कि ये लोग बार-बार ये लोग हिंदू मुस्लिम करते रहते हैं. The BJP always does Hindu Muslim. So I think the limit of that, to which it can be stretched has also been reached. I think, there is a certain saturation point, to which you can keep on, using the same trope. I still feel that this is also to enthuse their own cadre, okay, because electoral bonds judgment is a huge setback, okay, and Janta does realize this, that
Mhm.
ultimately it's going to show, the BJP in a very poor light if once the details come
Absolutely.
out, right?
Yeah.
And because the matching is going to be done by others, even if the SBI doesn't do the matching, it can be done in 24 hours. Who's got all that money, and which policy has been tweaked for who, right? So all those things have consequences.
Right.
And
Javed sir,
yeah.
yeah. One quick
Sure.
question before we wind up the show, that Indian Union Muslim League has filed a plea, asking for a stay on the CA rules. Could Supreme Court, go ahead and put a stay on the rules?
Is this question to
What's the
me?
possibility? Yes, Javed. So what is the possibility? Can they put a stay on the rules, or would they not take a chance
Look,
now?
the Supreme Court has infinite powers, it can do anything it wants. But will it do it is the big question. And the IUML has done what it should do, and now they need to zip it up. All these two penny Maulanas who are going around making these provocative statements should be asked to just keep their powder dry, because the moment you join, you take this issue to the streets, you will be walking straight into their traps.
Right. So we'll have to wait and watch what happens. But yes, the CA rules have been notified, and we just hope that things pass on peacefully. And elections, of course, will be announced in just a few days of time. So we'll have to wait and watch how it progresses. Thank you so much, Javed Ansari, Sharad Gupta, Pushpraj, Raj Lakshmi. Thank you so much for joining. And one appeal to the viewers who are watching this discussion: subscribe to our channel, send us your feedback, and stay tuned to the Federal.
Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.